Hello, please, this is how you start the ProtaStructure. So the moment you open it, this is the interface that will come. So this is the interface that will come. So what you do is that for you to start anything, if you have already AutoCAD for the ProtaStructure, for what you do is to go to Open Project, then you open that ProtaStructure. But in case you don't have none of them and you want to start, you go to new project. At the new project, you see some pop-up dialog box, which is the new project. So you see project code. So the project code can be your name or the project that you are dealing with. So you can decide to choose, let's say, Yao. Let's say Yao 1, right? And for this one, you see available characters A to Z in capital, A to Z in small, and 0 to 9 in small, 0 to 9. Then you have dash, right? So to maybe space the Yao and the one, you bring dash to space between them. Then you see template, you see search. So you see all the codes that you'll be doing. So you scroll down to look for UK BS8110 or UK Eurocode as I taught you how to use the code. So in case you are using the Eurocode, you use the Eurocode throughout. In case you are using the BS, you use the BS code. So now let's use the BS. So you click on the BS, it will select in the gray highlight, something like that. So we use the BS8110. Then you see that the template has been ticked for you already. Then you click OK. Then you wait for it to open for you. So you wait for it to open for you. So it will open. Okay. So when you open it, this is how the interface will look like. So this is how the interface. So at this side, you have the various information that you'll be needing, and at the ribbon tab, you have the building setouts, you have your modeling, you have your loading, you have your review, analysis, design, drawings, BIM, that's building information modeling. You have your display to here, you have your views, then you have maybe help. So the building setouts, we have the new, the open to here, we have recent project, open previous backup, we have save and save as, we have merge building models, we have link model manager, we have them here, right? So when we start modeling a project, we know how we use them one after the other. Then we have story. So when you click on the story, you will see a drop down where you will see select story, insert story, remove story, delete story, generate story, edit story. So that one to tackle those things there. Then when you go to model, you see grid, you see orthogonal axis generator, you see all these things, you see column. Here you see wall, beam, slab, ripped slab, slab and strip. You see all these one here. Then you see the load. As we were doing the manual aspect, we deal with load cases and load combinations. So the moment you choose your the code that you want to use, the software will automatically generate your load cases and your load combinations for you. Your own is to apply the load. So you have your load cases and combinations. You have your seismic parameters, movement and story loads, non-structural component loads, partition wall loads, slab additional loads, point line and area loads, pattern loading definition. Then we have load decomposition by finite elements. We have that one too there. Then we have your review. At the review, you will see your building check, model check. That's where you use to check if there is error in the modeling that you've done. That's where you use to check. Then we have relabel members. Maybe you want to relabel a member and it you can use this one to do it. Yeah, move members to others. That one too, we can use this one. Then we use this design status after we are done with our analysis. We want to see if our modeling has been passed or not. We use this design status to see. So when we do any analysis, when we started any rare project, we see how we will do that design. Then the analysis, we have the building analysis here, where you will do the analysis for the whole structure. Then we have finite element and floor analysis. This one we use it for the slab, to do the analysis for the slab. So this one will break the slab into smaller pieces, then it will do the analysis for that. Then we have the finite element raft foundation analysis. So this one we use it for raft foundation. I hope you know raft foundation. We have different types of raft foundation. We have pad foundation, that's isolated pad foundation. We have strip foundation. We have combined footing foundation. Those types. Then we have raft foundation. Raft foundations are used for, let's say, a high-rise building where the soil over there is not that good, but we are not going to use power, but we want to use raft foundation. Then we use the raft foundation there too. Then we have the design, where you will see your design, or where you can design all the beams and the structure, the columns, and then you have the columns and those stuff. Then you have your drawing and report. This is where you will see your Prota details, as I told you yesterday, the other time, that we'll be using Prota details. After we are done with the analysis, we'll open the Prota details. Then all the drawing, the analysis that we did, the drawings, you can see, you can generate them in the Prota details. Then we have the Prota still, in case you are doing steel works and you are done with the analysis and everything. You use the Prota still to get your Prota drawings. Then you can get quantity and extraction tables, report, and everything here in the Prota structure. And the moment you open the Prota structure, you get your story 0, that's at 0, 0 to your story 1. Let's say from um ground floor, let's say from foundation to maybe your ground floor, from ground floor to maybe your first floor. So you get this one there. Then you see you have the columns, shear walls, beams, slabs. So everything that you do, any word that you model here, you see them, they will start showing up here. So if you place a column here, you see that it will show at the column side. If you place a beam here, it will show at the beam side. If you place a slab, it will show at the slab side. So anything that you do here will show at this side. So let's say here we are not going to import anything. So what we do is that we have our drawing, our general arrangement. We've drawn our general arrangement. We did maybe a sketch of it. Then we've done a sketch of our general arrangement, and we are doing it here. So what we are going to do is that we have to first generate your axis or the grid. So you go to orthogonal axis generator, right? So you go to orthogonal axis generator, then you click on the orthogonal axis generator, then you bring it on the interface here. See, the moment you click on the orthogonal axis generator, nothing will show. So what you do is that you bring it at where this is used like this graph here. Then you click on that place. Then you see a dialog box. Because I'm doing screen recording, that's why you can't see the dialog box. So the dialog box, what you do is that you see orthogonal axis generator as a dialog box, and what you see are grid insertion. At the grid insertion, you see reference points x, insertion angle. So the reference point x is somewhere, that's where you hit, that's where you click before the dialog box. That's what it will show for you. Then you have your direction 1 axis. So the direction 1 axis is, you have the axis label A, step 1. That means we want it to move step 1. That means, let's say the axis label A, that means from A, B, C, D, E, then and so on and so on. That's the step 1. And when you say the direction 1, when you take a grid line, as you have an architectural drawing, when you take the architectural drawing and look at the grid, the horizontal lines that is moving through the buildings, the horizontal grid lines that is moving through the building, that's the direction 1 axis in the Prota structure. And the axis spacing, you see that we have 5000 asterisk 3, right? That means the spacing between A and B is 5000, so it will continue 3 times. That means AB is 5000, BC 5000, CD is what? 5000. Then we have the axis extension length to be this. Then the direction 2 axis is axis label 1. That's the vertical grid lines throughout the building, the vertical grid lines. That one to the axis label is 1, and the step is to what? 1. That means from 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll get it onwards. And the axis spacing 2, we have 500 times 3. That means from 1 to 2 is 5000. from 2 to 3 is 5,000, then from 3 to 4 to as well 5,000. But let's say you have a different, let's say, dimension. Let's take the direction 1 axis, which is the axis label A, right? So let's say from A to B is 5,000, right? Then from B to C, because the the distance between them differ from A to B, and let's choose, let's say, 4,000. What you do is that you delete that 3 times, that 3 asterisks, then you bring comma at the back of the 5,000, then you type your 4,000, right? Let's see, now we've gotten A, B to be 5,000, B, C to be 4,000. Let's say you want C, D to be, let's say, 2,500, comma 2,500. So the same thing that you do for, let's say, the direction 2 axis, which is the axis label 1 with the step 1 axis spacing 5,000 times 3. You delete that one. Let's say you delete that asterisk 3, then bring comma. Let's say from 1 to 2 is 5,000, 2 to 3 is, let's say, 2,000, then type 2,000. Then from, let's say, 3 to 4, 2 is, let's say, 3,500. So let's say if the distances are different in the grid lines, you use comma. But let's say you have two, let's say, 3 grid intervals, 3, let's say, A, B, B, C, D, C, D, right? A, B, B, C, C, D, which has the same distances. You can use the, let's say, 2,000 asterisk 3. That means these distances have the same, these gray lines have the same distances, and the software will know that. But in case we have different distances, we use comma to separate them. So at the dialog board, though, to go now as a generator dialog board, it said as a spacing, you can delimit values with comma character if unequal spacings used. Repeating spacings may be entered using asterisk as multiplier, provided that spacing to be written before a number of spans. Are you get it? So on my example, say let's say 5,000. You have 5,000, 2,000 times asterisk 3. That means the 2,000 is happening 3 times in the gray lines, and you don't want to repeat that 2,000 again. You want to use the asterisk as a multiplier. Let's say the number, the number that's multiplied, that's 2,000 asterisk 3, then 4,000, then you get it. So after that, then click OK, then it will generate like this for you. So the values, so this is the direction 1 that I was talking about. So the horizontal one, the direction 1, the axis label is A, and the step is 1. So from A, B, C, D, right? Then 1, the direction 2, which is the vertical one. 2 is step 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the numbers that are inputted are 1, 2, 3. That's why you can see the intervals 1, 2, 3. If you inputted a lot of numbers, it will give you more grid lines. For the vertical 2, the numbers that are inputted in it is 1, 2, 3. If you do so for this one too, the same thing that will happen for you. So this is how you generate your grid line, and this grid lines will move through all the storage that you generate to help you to do your work. So this is how you generate your grid line, and this is how the starting will be. So you have to know how you are going to do it. So the moment you open it, you see the grid lines that you generated, the axis that you can see it at here. You can see it at the axis. So that we have axis 1, 2, 3, 4, right? You have 4, A, B, C, D. Now you get it. Yeah. So that's how it will happen. So in case you add a story to it, the story to will come to this side. So in case you add a story to it, the story to will come to this side. So let's move on to how you can deal with the story too. So you go to building setup, then you move to this side, your far right. You see story operations, then you click on it. At the story operations, when you click on it, you see a drop down where you see select story, insert story, remove story, delete story, generate story, edit story. What does it talk about? So when you take select story, that means maybe you want to select a story that you've already maybe have with it, right? Maybe our story you want to tackle it, yeah. Then go to select story. Then we have insert story, right? So for this one, you see that we have our story one, we have our story two. So let's say we want to add one story to it so that we have, let's say, from story one, story zero to story one will be one story. Story two, one to two will be two story. That means, let's say the building that we are dealing with is two story. That means we are going to add one story to it. So the moment you click insert story, you see add story, total number of stories that you need to insert. Let's say one to make it a two story. If it is a let's say five story, that means you are going to add four stories to it to make it five. How you get it? Yeah. So total number of stories zero, right? So it said to add stories to the top of the building, enter a number greater than the current total. To insert an intermediate story, enter a number less than current total, right? So we have to insert a number which is greater than the total, the number that we the number of story that we already have. But this one we want to add one. So what you do is that you delete the zero, then you type in one, then click OK. Then it will ask you one. This and the previous process will not be undone after this step. Do you want to continue? Yes. Then click yes. Then wait for it. So you can see that now we've gotten two stories here. So we have story zero where the foundation will be something like that, or ground floor. Then so this one is our ground floor, first floor. Then this one will be our hot roof. I get it. Yeah, two. We have two stories. So and you can view it in the 3D too. So let's say you see where the story one at this side, you can right click on it, then go to 3D physical model. So when you right click on it, then go to 3D physical model, then click on it, then it will process for you. So you can see it like this. You can see it. So you hold your right button on the mouse to rotate it. So you see that these gray lines are at the story one, right? At the story one, let's say the first floor side. When you click on this side too, it will move up. When you click on this side too, it will move down. How you get it? When you click on this one, it will move. So the same thing that it will be, then move to this side for you to get your listing. That's how we have the insert story. So this is how you use it to generate your stories in it. Then let's say remove story. We have the remove story to here. So maybe you want to you have a story that you want to remove it. The moment you click on the remove story, you see that you have remove story. Then you see info, story. Then you see the story height, level, label one, two, description, D1, and those stuff. So if you want to remove story, what you do is that you select the this thing, the info part. Then you click OK. Then it will remove. So you click OK. It will ask you story one will be removed. Are you sure? Yes or no? Maybe you don't want to remove. No, I don't want to remove any story. That's all. Then we have the delete story too. It's the same thing like we're deleting a story. Generate a story. Maybe you want to generate another. Then edit story. Let's click on the edit story. So at the edit story too, you see the same thing as we already see at the remove one, right? So you see this side. So you see first story bottom level zero, foundation depth, right? So it's asking you your foundation depth. So let's say your foundation depth from, let's say, your ground floor, which is the story zero, to where your foundation is let's say 1,000 2,000. So 1,000 2,000. Then footing label, let's say F, right? Then you click OK. Then you can see that when you go to 3D, you see that, let's go to, yeah, to this here. So your foundation depth will be somewhere. I will get it. Yeah. So that's how it is. So this is how we will generate uh let's go to plan. So this is how we will generate our stories and also uh grid lines. And there's one thing that I want to talk about. Let's go to the edit story. Let's say you have you want your columns to move throughout the building, right? What you do is that click on the edit story, then you see edit story dialog box. So you on the table at the far right, you see similar stories. What you do is that the first story, at where the similar story is, click that place, then you hold, I don't know, you hold shift, uh, to drag it down to select all the stories that you want. After that, then you see similar story, then you see define selected stories as similar, then you click on define selected stories as similar. Then you see that the story one, at where the similar story is, will be 2, and let's say the story 2 at where the similar story is will be 1. Then click OK. So any column that you place at story 1 will be the same as story 2, without you doing the same thing at, let's say, story 2, to save time for you. So this where we end for the beginning.